Hello, my name is Jim Tulin, and I'm the founder and CEO of Oxford Hounds. This is the second in a series of podcast presentations where we invite investors and prospective investors to participate by asking questions about our company with an eye to learn more about Oxford Hounds. I would like to introduce Mr. Greg Gale, who is Vice President and Branch Manager at Nova Home Loans. The procedure will be the following: Greg has composed a list of investor questions to provide a greater perspective on Oxford Hounds. You will find contact information at the end of the Q&A, so please feel free to reach out if you would like to learn more about me and our company, as I will answer any and all questions you may have. Fire away, Greg.
Cool, Jim. I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity to put you in the hot seat. So why don't you just start by telling us a little about yourself and your background?
Sure. I'm originally from New York. Moved to Arizona 25 years ago. Spent my entire working career in a family business that was the largest men's and ladies accessories company in the world. We were a licensee of every major brand from Ralph Lauren, Guess, Tommy Hilfiger, Kenneth Cole, you name it. So my background is that I have lived in this world my entire life and understand it extraordinarily well, and built Oxford Hounds from a lifelong vision about taking the luxury product and taking it to a completely different level and redefining how the male luxury customer shops.
Solid. Now, why start this company?
Because I felt that luxury product is very difficult for the consumer to buy, especially a man. He hates our customer segment profile, hates going into stores for a variety of different reasons. And he's smart enough to understand that he's paying inflated prices because the retailer is taking their margin and the wholesaler is taking their margin. So he's getting inferior quality product in a very difficult format that's just too hard for him. So we saw the demise of brick and mortar coming 25 years ago. And many of you out there may think that it's because of Amazon. That is not true. Or COVID, for that matter. They just accelerated the process. But we saw this coming because our particular customer segment profile wants and needs to be treated in a different way. And we know how to do that.
And so why specifically do you feel brick and mortar failed?
Interesting question. I think that many people out there would think that brick and mortar failed because of COVID. That is 100% not the truth. And we saw this happening 25 years ago, as I mentioned. And the reason being is, for those of you that recall what life was like when you would walk into a department store and the people in the stores really cared about what you do or who you are and how you would like to be treated as they would like to be treated, the level of service started to diminish dramatically over the years because the department stores management saw it as an opportunity to make more margin. So they hired less experienced people that really didn't care about the customer's needs or requirements and tried to pocket the improved margin. But what it wound up doing is it turned off a lot of people. And that little by little started to force what eventually became the whole breakout of direct to consumer and online shopping. It's just easier. It's just easier, coupled with a significantly better price value and the ability to compare all these different types of products with a click of a mouse. That's why.
Interesting. So starting the company now, I mean, where do you see it in the next 5 years?
I think we're going to really kill it because aside from the fact that our product is really extremely different than anything that's out there, and we're merchants, we're not just creative product developers. We know the customer segment profile like the back of our hand. We know who this person is and what they like, and we know how to reach them. So we think that we will hit between $60 and $100 million by the next 5 to 6 years because the space that we're in is $750 billion globally. That's a huge market. So there's an enormous opportunity out there, and it doesn't matter that there's competition because there's competition in everything. So it's about, can you build a better bridge and reach the target consumer in a manner that is more pleasing to what they demand? And today's customer demands you to be on point. That's for sure.
For sure. Yeah. Now you talk about competition. I mean, what is the competitive landscape out there?
Well, that makes the situation even that much better for us because having spent 3 years doing market research, we know that the majority of players out there are all tied to brick and mortar for the bulk of their revenue. And what that means is they offer lesser quality product at an inflated price to cover their margins and the retailer's margins without passing any type of savings along to the consumer. So our competitors who make very nice product, they can't offer the same level of quality that we can at the same price value that we can because we have no middleman. So we're taking our creativity and ability to scale directly to the consumer, which means much better value for them, much more profit for our company, and a greater ability to do whatever it takes to make sure that our customers are totally satisfied and understand that we have them in our best interest because the customers always king. That is for sure.
Yeah. And when you cater to them, you keep going.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. So what makes you think that you can have such a big impact in such a huge vertical?
Here's the perfect example. Envision that you open a restaurant that is out in the boondocks, away from everything, but you have a really high quality product. Will the customers come and find you? Will you be packed every night? If you offer fabulous service, great food at reasonable prices, you absolutely will. Because we've both seen that happen over and over and over again. So my feeling is that if we do everything that we say we will and offer uniquely creative product with all Italian materials and workmanship at 25% less MSRP than our competition, take care of our customers as we would like to be taken care of, it's a home run. And the market is so big that there's always room. The fastest way to go broke in any industry is to capture a lion's share of a dying market. But when you have a $750 billion space that's growing rapidly and is one of the fastest growing segments in all of e-commerce, and you really do the right thing, you'll definitely succeed. They will find you for sure.
True. Now you mentioned, the manufacturing and that you chose, Italy. Why is that?
Well, I think that the majority of people that we may reach in this podcast or through our other forms of outreach, if you ask them all where is the finest quality in the world made, they would probably say in Italy. So Italy connotes the absolute best because people understand that made in Italy means the highest quality possible where creativity and design is paramount. So I decided when building this brand, there was no way that I was not going to put my best foot forward because I know that whenever you put your best foot forward, you will always succeed. So I wanted our product to reflect my aspirations and demand for excellence. And the only place that I know of that I'm going to achieve that is in Italy, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and with your years of experience in your prior company and honestly traveling the world, you've been able to figure that out firsthand.
Absolutely. Because there's no other place on the planet that I would go to. Nowhere.
Solid. Good.
Yeah.
Great answer. Well, last question, man. What are the key ingredients to making a great company?
I think I would revert back to my prior career. In light of the fact that we were in business for 115 years, the average tenure of an employee at our former company was 32 and a half years. It wasn't because they liked us.
Wow.
That's a fact. I know today's world has changed. And you look at people's resumes and they've had 14 jobs in 6 years. I understand that. But my background and upbringing was, it's always about the people. It's always about the people. Because great ideas are one thing. But if you don't have the support and the people that really care about what you're trying to accomplish, you will fail. You can't beat them into a coma and whip them harder to do a better job.
Right.
They either sign on to a culture that you've created that they buy into, or they don't. So our attitude is we're going to revert back kind of old school-ish, if you will, and that the people are what makes the company, hands down. So we have handpicked the people that we associate with, our suppliers, the people that we will hire in the future, that they have to be high quality, moral, enormous integrity people that believe in what we stand for. If they don't, invariably we would never hire them to begin with. But if they did sign on and we found out that we made a mistake, gone.
Mhm.
We will only invest in those people that believe in what we believe in. And that will make us great.
I
But
like
that's true, Greg, in any company, isn't it?
True, true. The ones that are successful and, like you said, long-term and tenured, pouring into the people, investing into the people, having their buy-in, and like you mentioned too, having that standard that everyone's upheld to.
Well, the footnote to this is that you hear in modern day terminology, everybody talks about the team. Have your team get back to me, or have your team do this. And sometimes I laugh because for the most part in those letters, I see an I in there a lot of the times. And I see team used as a cliche for something that sounds great, but most people don't believe in.
Hmm.
But in any company, unless people are really pulling together on the same pathway, it's never going to work.
Right.
So the concept of team is really valid, even though it's used randomly, like, I'll have my team get back to you like it's normal. But
Mhm.
how many of those people really believe in that concept? Because it's the truth.
Yeah.
So that, to me, it's about the people, and that's what makes the difference. And from your own business,
Mhm.
if your people aren't on board, there ain't no way, because you can't micromanage. You just can't do it. You have to have people that you can delegate to. So I think we're onto some really cool stuff here. As I said, any questions that anyone has going forward, please feel free to reach out. I always enjoy talking about the business because it's easy for me.
Right.
The answers are they're there.
They're there. Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time today and joining us.
Well, thank you so much. And we'll look forward to great things on the horizon.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay. Thanks, Greg.